Welcome back to another episode of IrlRunLocked. If you're new, episode 1 is linked at the top right so you can see the restrictions for the account. Ever since I saw Swampletics, I've always known I wanted to make my own RuneScape content. There's so many unique creators that drive this game, and I wanted to be like them, but I wanted to do something different that hadn't been done before. So I present to you IrlRunLocked. Without any more waiting, let's get right to it. Now that I have full Graceful, there's a lot of goals I want to accomplish with this account, but it's going to take a while. So let me break them down so you can understand my thought process and where I'm going. I've mentioned this before when I brought up Guardians of the Rift, but 54 runecraft will be really important. This lets us make our own law runes, which are used to teleport around the game, and traveling in RuneScape is really slow if you don't have these. At 44, we also can make our own nature runes, which are very useful for making gold via the High Elk spell. I also have a potential idea on how to train smithing that will use a lot of nature runes, but it might not be viable, so we'll see when we get there. The other short-term goals are 55 magic, so I can cast the High Elk spell and make money with that, as well as 43 prayer. For any of you that don't know, prayer may be the most important skill in RuneScape, solely because of the protection prayers. At 43, you have access to protect from melee, protect from magic, and protect from range. When activated, these prayers slowly drain your prayer points over time, but give you invulnerability to the type of damage that you're praying against. These are some short-term goals I have for the account, but all of them will be accomplished while we're working towards our long-term goal of completing Song of the Elves. This quest is very important because of some gear it will unlock for our account, but it has some steep requirements. In order to even start the quest, I need level 70 in the following skills: agility, construction, farming, herblore, hunter, mining, smithing, and woodcutting. On top of all this, the boss at the end of the quest has a mechanic where they do your max health -1 in damage. Because of this, inventory space can get rather tight if your health is too high. To help with this, I'm going to avoid gaining hit point levels, which means avoiding combat as much as I can. This is going to be a challenge. The most efficient way of getting early levels is by doing quests, so we're going to slam out a whole bunch over the next couple days. I started off with Black Knight's Fortress. This quest doesn't give me a lot of experience directly, but is an important prerequisite for some that do. The quest makes me grab a disguise, so I grab an Iron Chain Body in Varrock and the Bronze Medhelm in Barbarian Village. I started the quest in Falador, then snuck into the Black Knight's Fortress with the disguise. This put us at -1 kilo, which was perfect.
Quest completed.
After turning in that quest, I followed that one up with the short quest Monk's Friend. Finishing this quest gives us 8 law runes. We need one for Wanted, which is one of the follow-ups to Black Knight's Fortress. I could be more efficient about the order that I'm doing quests in and follow a guide, but I wanted to make it my own journey. So I apologize if it seems like I'm bouncing all over the place. I do have a general idea of what I'm doing, but it might be a little bit scattered. The next 2 quests we're aiming for are Recruitment Drive and Wanted. There's still one prerequisite quest called the Lost Tribe that we need to take care of first, though. I gathered some things I needed for this quest and teleported back to Lumbridge. This quest is pretty straightforward. There's a lost tribe of goblins under the castle in Lumbridge. We need to figure out what they're doing. So we pick up the brooch under the castle, then to Varrock to do some research in the library and find a book about them, then to Goblin Village to see if they know anything about the lost tribe. Then lastly, after we find out that the advisor to the Duke of Lumbridge framed them to look bad, we prove their innocence and set up a peace treaty agreement. When I went through Varrock to grab the book about the lost tribe, I also finished the Romeo and Juliet quest along the way. This was another big day for the account. I got full Graceful and managed to finish 4 quests. I parked the account next to the seed stalls and drainer and stole as many seeds as I could. Last night I also wrote a plugin to always display the weight on screen. I think this will make the videos a lot better, and it will be a lot less annoying for me because I won't have to mouse over the run symbol to check my weight every 3 seconds. After resetting our farming patch and teleporting to Last Man Standing to store our extra seeds in the looting bag, I decided to start Recruitment Drive. And this is a good time to explain Ultimate Iron Man death mechanics, because in order to start the quest, I need no items in my inventory. When an Ultimate Iron Man dies, all of their stuff drops on the floor for 60 minutes. No one can see them except you, and when the timer expires, everything despawns. The timer stops if you log out, and it's a nice way to store items for 60 minutes and clear inventory. But it can still be risky because if you don't make it back in time, you lose everything. The other important thing to note is that because I can't use a bank, death piling is the only way I can retrieve items from my looting bag. So I just pickpocketed guards until they killed me, and now that my inventory was clear, I could just run back and start the quest. It's just a series of puzzles, and they were all pretty straightforward, and only one part gave me trouble. So I messed that up because I wasn't paying attention. But we have 11 kilos here, and we're just going to carry that with us across the bridge 3 times to make up for forgetting. Other than that, though, there was no problems finishing the quest. It gives us a good chunk of prayer and herblore XP. Now that I was done with the quest, I could retrieve my death pile items and do Guardians of the Rift. I freed up my inventory as much as possible and then started Guardians of the Rift. I thought this would be a good time to practice running and build up some endurance, so I start running at the beginning of each round. It ended up being about 6 minutes per round, or half a mile, and I ended up doing 6 rounds today with space for breaks. Here's the stats we ended with for the day. After I finished with Guardians of the Rift for the day, I bought some extra runes and parked next to the Lesser Demon in the Wizard's Tower to level up my magic. So I spent about 2.5 hours on the treadmill pickpocketing guards and thieving cakes to heal in Ardougne. I wanted the gold in order to buy runes to level up my magic. I need to go to the hospital with my wife tomorrow because we're going to have a baby. Because of this, I didn't have a lot of time to play and needed a spot to AFK, so training magic to around 55 seemed like a good start. I wasn't able to sleep very well though, and after getting to about level 48 magic, I decided to move my account to do some woodcutting. We do need to hit 70 for Song of the Elves anyway. It's been a while. I did end up moving my account to Teaks to see if I could 2-tick them. Turns out it's hard to set up 2-ticking without being able to move, so I didn't end up 2-ticking very much, but we did get to 63 woodcutting. My daughter is in the intensive care unit though, so over the next couple days I don't expect having a lot of time to play, but it does help me take my mind off things, so we'll see how true that is. So today I was just going to reset farming patches. I also had a little bit of time to finish Ernest the Chicken, which is just picking up random items around Draenor Manor with a couple puzzles in order to get them. Earlier to 2-tick Teaks, I picked up runes to use for non-damaging spells, and I used those when I could along the way. From here, I finished the medium clue scroll. I made the mistake of opening the casket somewhere far from where I could sell the contents, so I had to pick up a weight to go to Varrock and sell the plate body. From here, I pickpocketed a bunch of seeds from master farmers to reset our farming patches. This farm run ended up putting me at 20 farming, and then I went and did the sheep herder quest. This quest is pretty easy. All you have to do is herd the colored infected sheep into a pen so that you can incinerate them. The only thing about this quest that was challenging is that I needed to equip some protective gear so I don't get infected, which means I had to remove my graceful, and that ended up meaning we had a lot of weight to carry around. At first, I just put the barbell on my shoulder, but after a while I realized this quest was going to be annoying doing that, so I put the weight in my backpack and then carried that around. I finished the quest no problem, but had a striking revelation afterwards. I don't know how I'm gonna freaking do raids in this, dude. So yeah, the training I'm gonna need to do to work up to being able to do raids is kind of daunting at this point, but they're a long ways away, so I'm sure I have time. And like I said, in the mid game, I'm gonna be carrying a lot more weight around, so it will give me time to train for that. I gained 2 magic levels from hitting the Lesser Demon, and I ended up telegrabbing some valuable loot that the Lesser Demon dropped. I sold it in the Rogue's Den, and then went and parked my account to cut willows for a bit. When I had the chance to play, I ended up pickpocketing master farmers for some seeds to reset our farming patches. This got us to level 22 farming. I also got an unlucky Hespori seed along the way. Can't really justify the inventory space to keep it right now, so it feels bad, but I just end up dropping it. I'm really close to being able to craft my own nature runes, and I want to do more Guardians of the Rift today, so I ended up doing the quest What Lies Below. There's really only one part that's dangerous. When you go to the Abyss, you get Scold. If I'm in a PvP area and another player kills me while I'm Scold, I lose everything to them. But this area isn't usually camped by PKers. I made it out, turned in the quest, and now I have 43 runecraft. At this point, I took a break, did a little bit of AFK woodcutting, then pickpocketed master farmers to get seeds to reset our farming patch. I wanted to get a run in today, so I ended up doing about 2.5 miles at Guardians of the Rift, 5 rounds. I ended at 46 runecraft, but unfortunately no good loot. Now I wanted to do the quests Merlin's Crystal and the Holy Grail for some prayer XP. On the way, I pickpocketed master farmers for seeds. Then I reset the farming patches and got 23 farming. On the way to start the quests, I stored any unused seeds in my looting bag. Here's what we currently have stored. I forgot to mention I sold my staff to clear up space for Guardians of the Rift, so I walked back to Varrock to buy another one, pick up a tinderbox, and then teleport to Camelot. I start the quest by talking to King Arthur, and he tells me that Merlin has been trapped in a crystal, and then we find out that Morgan Le Fay trapped him there. I pick up some food in Ardone, making sure to also grab a loaf of bread, which will be used later in the quest. Then we hide in a crate and sneak into Morgan's stronghold. After sneaking in, we beat up Sir Mordred, Morgan Le Fay's son, until she appears to save him. In return for us sparing his life, she tells us the ritual we need to do in order to free Merlin from his crystal. 2 of the items can be found really close by, the black candle as well as the bat bones. The 3rd item is Excalibur. We beseech the Lady of the Lake to give us Excalibur, and she says she'll have a test for us. If we go to a certain spot on the map, a beggar appears and asks for a loaf of bread. Conveniently, we have one. This is the Lady of the Lake in disguise. So we give her the loaf of bread, and she gives us Excalibur in return. Then I teleport to Varrock to get some magic words which have been hidden in the Zamorak temple. Now we have everything we need to free Merlin, so we head back, conduct the ritual, and he's free. Quest's done. That was a lot for the day. We went just over 9 miles, so I parked my account near some willows to woodcut and log off. Here's the stats we ended with for the day. At the start of the Holy Grail quest, I need to go to Intrana. I can't carry any weapons or armor there, so I end up death piling by picking nettles without gloves. I have to pick a whole bunch, and it sounds silly, but it works. Then I run to take the boat to Intrana, and luckily I don't need to do a whole lot here. After I talk with the monk, I get a new looting bag because they're destroyed on death, and then retrieve my death pile. Since death piling and destroying the looting bag gave me all the seeds in it, I decided to use those along the way while we make progress in several quests. I pick up a fishing rod in Catherby so I can start the fishing contest quest. I grab a spade from the tool leprechaun nearby, and then pick up the garlic in Sears Village on my way to McGruber's Woods. The bait we need for the fishing contest quest is also in the woods. And I pick up dwellberries for the Plague City quest that we're going to be doing later. It just so happens that Sir Galahad has a cottage out by McGruber's Woods as well. He has a holy table napkin that we need for the Holy Grail quest, so we pick that up. I'm close to where the fishing contest takes place too, but there's a vampire in sunglasses who's already taken the best spot where we can catch our prize fish. So we hide that garlic that we picked up in Sears Village in the pipe to get him to move. Then I can turn in the fishing contest quest and go to Drainer Manor. I bought arrow tips in Catherby and feathers in Port Sarum. So while I'm walking to Drainer Manor to find the magic whistles that are there for some reason, I can fletch 400 iron arrows. Now that I have the magic whistles, I can go to the Fisher King's realm where the Holy Grail is. There's a Black Knight Titan stopping us from proceeding, but we can do a tactic to beat him called flinching, where we step in to attack him and then step away before he can strike back. After the Black Knight Titan is slain, we talk with the Fisher King, who says he's not doing so well. The Fisher King wants us to find his son, Sir Percival, so that he can be in charge of the realm. Sir Percival's gotten himself into some trouble in Goblin Village, so we help him back and then return to the Fisher King's realm. There's nothing in the kingdom that's in a state of disarray anymore, even the castle has been repaired. So we go get the Holy Grail that's in the castle now, for some reason, and bring it back to King Arthur. Turning in this quest gives us 7 defense levels and 11 prayer levels. Sweet progress. Since I picked up the dwellberries for Plague City, I decided to do this quest as well. Supposedly there's a plague in West Ardone, so the city has been locked down. Edmund's daughter is over there in protective gear, so she hasn't been infected, but she can't get out alone, so we need to go rescue her. After getting into West Ardone through the sewers, we have to do a couple things to track down Elena, but we find her and rescue her. Pretty simple quest. That was a lot for the day, so I just park my account by some willow trees and log out. Alright, I have plans to do my first big boy quest today. But first let's start off with a simple quest, murder mystery. All I do is search around the mansion and find some fingerprints and evidence, and then let the guard know who committed the murder. It's pretty simple and short. I did do a little bit of AFK fletching and woodcutting as well, so our stats are looking pretty good. We are at 68 woodcutting now. So I have plans to kill the Dragon of Crandor today by doing Dragon Slayer 1. I pick up a couple things I need in Catherby, specifically a lobster pot and a bucket, and the hammer as well. I need 3 planks to repair the ship that will take us to Crandor. So on my way to Fishing Trawler to pick them up, I steal some cakes for food. I had to walk back to Ardone though to steal a piece of silk that I forgot. After this I teleported to Lumbridge, mined some clay in the Rimington mine, bought an Eye of Newt in Port Sarim to clear out the Guam in my inventory and make an attack potion, and then picked up a Wizard's Mind Bomb on my way through Falador. On my way to talk to the Oracle on top of Ice Mountain, I stop in Barbarian Village to turn that soft clay that I have into an unfired bowl. I need a map to reach the Isle of Crandor where the dragon is, but the map is split into 3 pieces and the Oracle tells me how to get one. I need to solve a riddle to pass through a door to get it. The riddle is the following. First, a drink used by a mage, next some worm string changed to a sheet, then a small crustacean cage, last a bowl that has not seen heat. So we have the Wizard Mind Bomb, a piece of silk, the lobster pot, and the unfired clay bowl. There's a slot in the door where we can put the items, then it opens up so we can retrieve the piece of the map. Since I'm close to Varrock, I need 100 steel nails to repair the boat. I get them from the Varrock sawmill, and then we head over to the Port Sarim jail. There's a goblin here that has another piece of the map, and he says he'll give it to me for 10,000 gold. But I'm not a dummy, so I kill him and then telegrab the piece of the map he drops. What's he gonna do with 10,000 gold in jail anyway? After this, the last piece of the map is just in a maze that we need to go through. There's a lesser demon at the end, but you can kind of safe spot him. Now we assemble the map and we know how to get to Crandor. We just need to find a captain, repair our boat, and grab some food to heal with. Once I board the boat, there's a cool little cutscene that plays, and it hasn't aged very well, but back in 2004 when I was playing this game for free on my mom's computer, it went pretty hard. Also, rip a king, Cabin Boy Jenkins. Now all I need to do is kill the dragon, and not gonna lie here, he kinda tears me to shreds. Slaps me for 3 10s in a row right off the rip. I didn't bring enough food, but that's okay, I have a plan. Elvarg regenerates their health very slowly, so if I go back for more wines in Draenor Village and come back quick enough, I should be able to kill him no problem. I get Elvarg down to 6% before I have to teleport out, and then I just head back to Port Sarim for more wines. Like I said, if I make it back quick enough, I should just be able to kill Elvarg no problem. But the baby needed some attention, and so even killing the Dragon of Crandor has to wait when life calls.